Hillbilly Elegy, which is the new movie by Ron Howard, adapted from the memoir from 2016 by J.D. Vance, who came from sort of a poor background, joined the Marines, went to Yale, became a very successful investment manager, very much the American dream. So basically what happens is the story is divided into two sections that are intertwined. Our central character is he's from Midtown Ohio, but considers himself to be from hill country, Jackson, Kentucky, which is where his kind of family's roots are. And in one version of the story we see him feeling like a fish out of water at a posh dinner, posh kind of Yale dinner, in which he has to impress people whilst not understanding which type of wine he's being offered and not understanding how the forks and things work, because this isn't where he comes from. And in the other section of the story, which is the flashbacks which are intertwined, we see him as a kid dealing with his mum, played by Amy Adams, who is an habitual addict, and she seems to be honest with you, she seems to be addicted to those same "give me an award" acting pills that Renée Zellweger overdosed on when she was doing a Cold Mountain. But she's kind of erratic, and at one point we see her being wild and violent. In fact, the cops are called in order to stop her beating up her child. But it's a very close knit community, and his grandmother, memoir, who is played by Glenn Close, admires the fact that he doesn't rat to the cops. She is played, as I said, by Glenn Close, wearing, it has to be said, historically accurate, but frankly, Mrs. Brady old lady, big glasses and frizzy hair, and a T-shirt that seems to have been previously owned by Mike Tyson, which kind of like she's wearing a tent. Anyway, he can't be doing with his mum anymore. He goes to live with his grandma. She teaches him proper manners, how to get good grades, those very grades that land him as a fish out of water at Yale in the modern day story. And the two strands are brought together by a phone call. While he's at the dinner, he gets a phone call saying, "Your mother's taken an overdose, you need to come back." So should he run home, save the family, or should he stay and save his future? There's an end credit sequence at the end of the film which shows the real characters on whom the story is based, and it is surprising how much they do look like their screen counterparts, particularly the grandmother figure played by Glenn Close. What is peculiar, therefore, is why it is that those screen counterparts feel so much like artificial caricatures. I mean, I watched the film and, I didn't hate it, but I did think the whole way through, I am watching actors acting. I am watching people playing roles, wearing costumes and prosthetics, and adopting postures and manner. I never once believed that what I was watching was something that was actually close to truth. Now, this is particularly weird because if you watch The Fighter, I never thought watching The Fighter that is Amy Adams playing Charlene Fleming. I just thought I bought into the character and that's what I thought I was watching. Here, I never thought I'm watching Bev Vance. What I thought was I am watching Amy Adams doing an awards courting performance. There has been, the reviews have started to break, and there have been some very, very negative reviews. There's been a lot of debate about the politics of the piece. There's a lot of debate about the politics of the novel, which I haven't read, has been cited as a sort of touchstone in understanding how Trump won the inverted commas white working class vote in 2016. And Vance, who I think is Republican, I'm not sure, but I think he is, was a sort of, was talked about a lot at the time. To be honest with you, the politics were never an issue. I've read some things, people calling it poverty porn and that sort of stuff. The politics weren't an issue for me. The issue for me was, I think it's incredibly dramatically inert and frankly boring. The thing is, I like Ron Howard as a director. I absolutely love Splash. I love Apollo 13, but his back catalogue is littered with things like the Da Vinci Code that are simply badly constructed dramas. And considering the amount of stuff that happens, the fight, the screaming matches, the overdoses, the rags to riches narrative, it is surprising how little the film seems to go anywhere at all. So, I think the problem is not the performances, because I think the performances are actually, I think they are pretty good, but they are within a context of a drama which just felt so stiflingly mannered and constructed that I never once got beyond thinking I am watching top actors doing some top acting. And as a result, I never got emotionally involved. And there is a really big problem with a film like this, which is that if it doesn't get you emotionally involved, it just kind of lies there like a fish flipping on a rock. You know, it's uh, it is dramatically inert in ways which are really quite surprising, particularly considering just how much scenery chewing the cast are doing.
Is there a rocking soundtrack to go with it? Because you would think with a name like Hillbilly Elegy, there'll be something fantastic.
Funnily enough,
there
there is a really good soundtrack. Yes, there is a really good soundtrack. But and again, considering how much I love a really good soundtrack, you know, I mean, Hans Zimmer's name's in there, so you know, it's like
okay.
yeah, no, it is again surprising how much, with all those things going for it, the film is just kind of, it just felt like it never felt like it inhabited the spirit of the thing that it, you know, it's something that you look at it rather than watch it. I think that was it. I felt like I spent 2 hours or however long it is looking at the film rather than watching it, and I never once thought that is anything other than Amy Adams and Glenn Close acting for all they are worth.
You've made it all very, very easy for my interview with Amy Adams and Glenn Close on next week's program.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much.